These pictures kind of represent what I'll be talking about: the DNA diet, the one and only gadget, the smartphone, and the Vernon Young toilet. Yeah. But the essential part is that I want to focus on where's the business. And there is an enormous food market, food business, and there is a personalized food business, but it's essentially different. And this picture shows this. This part, services. The essential difference between selling food and selling personalized food is that there's a diagnosis involved. You need to measure something, and you need to transmit the information, the advice part. Those are services on top of the food product. You can actually stop selling the food product and only sell the services. Think about this. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Now, back to Vernon Young's toilet. And actually, it is there. This is already the second generation of the Toto toilet, the Japanese toilet. It is there. It costs something. This one actually samples urine. Of course it samples urine, but it samples clean urine. It doesn't just flush it. It measures my blood pressure, it measures my body weight, it measures my temperature, it measures a whole lot of things. It directly connects to the computer and it tells me who I am in terms of wellness. Yeah? It goes to my general physician, my doctor, who sees who I am and comes back with a report or a health care advice. It is there. And of course, Mike knew this. And already 5 years ago, he produced this slide at the Nugo debate, where he actually made the transition between Vernon Young's toilet and the IT component, because that is where things go. It's not just diagnosis. We've heard a lot about this. It's also about the software part. And since I needed to talk about the software part, okay, what is software these days? The only software I use is Google. Yeah, don't you? If you want to know information, Google. And yes, Google is Google Health. It's there. And here you can read about my BMI, because it's all in the open. And you can read about my physical activity. All kinds of tricks allow me to assemble my health status, and who knows, BioCare will plug into Google Health or do something else. What I need is a single portal that tells me about me. And let's have a bit of a better look there. So let's have a look at the calories burned. Where do those come from? This is the more exact graph. These have been measured. These have been quantified by one of those. Yeah, I have this smartphone in my pocket that measures my energy consumed. And if I click on one of those days here, February 7, this is the route from my home, crossing the highway into the forest, running my round, home again. Yeah, that's me. That's what I'm doing. It doesn't cost me an extra click. It just records this and it ends up in Google Health. That is as far as I can go. And I can also measure my heart rate. Yeah, my phone also measures my heart rate, and also this one ends up in Google Health. So far, so good. I can measure myself. But there's more. There are now ways. I can measure my body weight directly connected to my smartphone. I can measure my blood pressure directly connected to the Google Health environment. So one way or the other, software and hardware diagnosis start to tell me a lot more about myself. And the point is, it doesn't cost me a lot of energy. I don't want to sit half an hour every day to fill in questionnaires or to adopt software and so on and so on. These are my medical data, my blood values, also entered into Google Health. And it's all there. Yeah, it's there. Now, what about the genetics? I can talk general about genetics, and I can. But what about my genetics? And yes, I know who I am in terms of my genes. I have done this spitting test. This is a paper from the New York Times where they announced a spitting party. New York celebrities coming together, Robert Murdoch and others, spitting into tubes. It's a big PR stunt of this company called 23andMe, 23 chromosomes and me. The data was sent to their labs and analyzed, and I've done the same thing. I paid like 500 euros. You can also do it for 100 euros. I had a bad bargain. Prices drop every day. That's the message. Yeah. And every 3 weeks, I get an update on my genome status because they keep on digging. I, of course, tick-boxed all the anti-privacy statements, so they know everybody, they know everything about me, and the whole world knows everything about me. But I get all this information, and I get this Facebook environment where I start to learn about other people with the same genetic variations. So these are some of my data. Utterly uninteresting. I cannot adapt my lifestyle to what I'm seeing here. It's just fun. It is scientific fun. And I think the majority of people that send samples to 23andMe don't do this because of their health or their lifestyle, but because they some way or another are curious. Yeah? But there is something in there. Yeah? I can look at my genes related to how I deal with lipids. I know about those genes because it's my job. It's my science. And wow, it makes sense one way or the other. Not always, but it makes sense. Yeah? Now, I learn about who my mother is. Yeah? And my mother comes from Europe. Good. I learn about who my father is. Bit of a surprise. Comes from... I mean, he had dark hair. But that's as far as I can go. The interesting thing is this. Read it. Google goes biotech and invest in 23andMe. One way or the other, there was this link between Google, my software company, and the company that measures my genes. And here it is. The director of Google, Sergey Brin, marries the director of 23andMe. They're married. Come on. Here we are. Yeah?
They did before.
They did this before. Yeah. So in fact, the wife of the director of Google thought, let's make a company. And think about the power of IT, of information. If indeed Google merges their capacities, their knowledge, the things they know about me. I think they know me better than I do myself. Yeah? Think about if Google Health and 23andMe merge. Would I mind? Actually, I don't think I would mind a lot if certain things are taken for granted. Yeah? So think about the societal issues, ethics, and so on and so on, but we'll discuss this a bit later. There is an enormous potential in here. Yeah? Now, there are also funny things. This Ozzy Osbourne that did his genetic test, and it actually explains why he's addicted to alcohol, one thing, and it explains why he is a very smooth metabolizer of alcohol. Yeah? So there we are. Okay, back to business. There are many companies that one way or the other prone into this area of personalized diet or my lifestyle or anything like this. Take this example, Jenny Craig, a shop chain in the US that offers all of these products, yeah? Activity planners, online journal recipes, progress tracker, based on information I provide to them. Yeah? Well, maybe you don't know Jenny Craig, but you know the company that bought Jenny Craig. Yeah? And so this is what's happening. Big companies are entering the field. It's not just these small SMEs. Big companies, maybe it's not known to everybody, but not all, a lot of these companies want to be there. It is coming, guys and ladies, and you'll hear more about this from the DSM example. Yeah? Now I need to choose. This is in Dutch, so you won't be able to figure it out, explain this. Do I link with Jenny Craig, or do I link with DSM? Or do I link with VioCare? Or am I going to visit 5 or 6 or 7 different web pages? No, please. I want to spend 5 minutes every week on this type of information gathering. And we start to realize this. And so this is an example where the Dutch Diabetes Patient Organization and the Dutch Cardiovascular Disease Patient Organizations realized that there may be patients that have both diabetes and cardiovascular issues. So they merged their My Health Status pages. Yeah, they actually merged into the same building. The Rheumatic Arthritis Patient Organization is about to merge their web portal into all of this. And this is what we need. We need convenience. Don't ask me to go and shop around all of this. Yeah? And how do they do this? By actually having this add a widget thing. And you can add your portal aspects towards this web portal. And I think that's good. That's where we need to go to. And whether this will be Google or the Dutch government or anybody else, I don't want to pay for it because I'm suffering anyhow. Yeah? Maybe I'll pay for the services behind this, but the first portal part, no, needs to be for free. So, where are we going? This is what I did last weekend. 2 scenarios. One in 3 years' time and the others in 10 years' time. This is my personal view. And read these carefully. I hope you agree. And if not, tell me. In 3 years' time, I will have access to all of my relevant genetic variations for less than 100 euros. And mind that you just have to measure this once, because those things don't change. Yeah? Actually, this is already true right now. I'll access a series of home-based diagnostics connected to the internet. I've shown you and we've seen examples. I'll spend 5 minutes a week to update my personal health information. If this is true, and I think it's true, who then, what company, what institution, what website, what portal will provide me with my personal dietary advice? I think this is a business challenge. We need science, we need regulators, but we need entrepreneurial aspects also. Now in 10 years' time, I'll have access to my whole genome information, not just the variation, but the complete sequence. Piece of cake, yeah? It's now the race for the $1,000 genome, and it's almost there, yeah? My personal diagnostics will be integrated with online monitoring and electronic medical records, with internet-based primary medical advice, yeah? Realize what I'm saying. In 10 years' time, my electronic patient dossier will be connected to all of my personal gadget type of information gathering. My medical doctor oversees this. There are a number of algorithms backing up alarm bells in his office. He checks and sends me a message about what I have to do. Yeah? Maybe even compliance about pills, maybe even compliance about diet or dietary advice. Yeah? Nutrition science, this is important also. We've neglected this so far. Nutrition science has tackled the complexity of gene-diet interactions. Nutrition science is not an easy science. There's work to be done. Food for Me will work on this. And, okay, the safe time period, 10 years' time, will be ready by then. So who will then provide me with my personal dietary advice? Yeah? Think about this from a business perspective. Okay, so a few slides about what is needed. For one thing, what I've learned so far, and I finalized making my presentation half an hour ago, so the other presentations are included, open innovation agreements, standards and formats. If I just want to wear this one gadget, all companies should collaborate in setting common standards, yeah, in terms of, I don't know how these things work, I wouldn't care less actually, but I just want to have one of these implants under my skin, not 10, yeah, not here, please, yeah. The same for the website, one single portal, yeah, only one gadget, only one web portal. What is also needed is a proper regulatory climate, and I've called this very simply empower the individual and protect the vulnerable. We can discuss ages and ages about ethics. We can do very academic about all of this. But then, and this is not a bad journal, yeah, New England Journal of Medicine, a month ago a paper came out. And Don and Andersuk and Scripps, interesting, astonishing. So they followed a cohort of people where they did genetic testing, and they were curious whether these people changed their lifestyle or their whatever in any way, and they didn't. They were not scared to death because they knew the genome. Yeah? Things just didn't really change. So we can discuss ethics and ethics and ethics. If a consumer is ready, he'll take the chances. Yeah? I'm simple in this, but it'll be a sliding step, how do you call this? We'll get there, but at the same time, we talk about insurance. Insurance cannot be personalized to the extreme. Insurance is a social issue. I'm covering the risk of you. No, you all are covering my risk. Yeah? That's why I pay an average amount instead of the amount that is up to me. If I just have to pay for my own health insurance, for my own health cost, I don't need an insurance. Let's be honest about that. Yeah? What's also needed, and this touches the core of nutrition, reliable information. unbiased scientific knowledge base. That is what food for me is going to make. I don't want to rely on the scientific advice of 23andMe, unless I know that they have guaranteed this advice based on real scientific unbiased knowledge. They don't, yeah? So I need to be careful myself. Here, the scientific community, the academia needs to step in. We also need an optimal integration of electronic medical record with personalized health monitoring, and we also need algorithms translating my phenotype into my dietary requirements. Yeah? This is what Bioindex is doing. They're measuring things in my plasma, they are calculating something, and they tell you, you need more of this, and you need less of this. That is algorithms in a simple way. If we go to profiles or signatures or time courses or whatever, we'll need to be able to cope with that information and translate it into nutrient requirements. And then nutrient requirements need to be translated into food. But that is something with culture involved, and that can be done by companies. Last thing, healthcare systems focusing on optimal health, not on disease. Yeah? Now, the complete healthcare system is focusing on disease. It is too late. I don't want to get ill. Nah, I'll get ill sooner or later, but better later than sooner. Healthcare systems should be focusing on keeping me in optimal shape as long as possible. Also the funding. So this means who's going to pay for the diagnosis if there's no disease? Just preventive. Yeah? Who's going to pay for the gadgets that will be implanted under my skin? We need this. Yeah? And it needs to be paid for. Bioindex did not succeed because they couldn't make the deal with the health insurance company. And next time they should. Yeah? Okay, so last slide. In the end, this is personalized nutrition. We need to provide the science and the setting for the right food choice, and then it's up to me to decide. And there's this restaurant in the US, it's called the Heart Attack Grill. And if you're above 350 pounds, I don't know how much this is in kilo, you can eat for free there. That's personalized diet. Yeah? So you do the diagnosis, you measure your body weight. If you're above the level, you'll get this diet for free. And it's working. The funny thing is, so this is YouTube, it's no joke. Go and have a look. This is the utter consequence of what we are doing. The science needs to be okay, the technology needs to be okay, the information needs to be okay, but the consumer, I need to have complete choice of freedom on neglecting this or sticking to it. Thank you very much.